The lives of more than 1 million Israelis are plagued almost on a daily basis by rocket fire from Gaza. Just this month in October, militants shot over 180 Katushas, mortars, and grads on the southern communities of Israel. Nobody was killed, but a few foreign workers were seriously injured and there was some structural damage. So who's shooting these rockets? As you'll see, the answer is quite complicated, and there's more than just one culprit. It goes far beyond just the Hamas terrorist group which controls the Gaza Strip. There's a power struggle going on in the Gaza Strip between Hamas and its main rival, the Iranian-backed terrorist group known as the PIJ, or the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. The PIJ has taken responsibility for most of the rockets fired at Israel in the last few months. Hamas, by and large, has kept the ceasefire it agreed to. Many terror experts believe the PIJ is trying to goad Hamas into an unwanted war.
Hamas now does not want a full confrontation with Israel. Hamas cannot afford itself another Operation Castlet. The people can't take it, and they do not want to lose their grip in the regime. Unlike the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, which is a 100% Iranian proxy who doesn't really have a local social economic agenda,
toppling Hamas may be their only local agenda. By firing rockets, the PIJ can win the popularity of Gazans and at the same time avoid being held accountable for the terrible state of Gaza's economy and its poor governance. On both fronts, the PIJ undermines Hamas's authority.
The Palestinian Islamic Jihad is an Iranian proxy. Now, from an Iranian point of view, in order to divert attention from the nuclear program and the sanctions and all this accumulating immense pressures on Iran, they would love to see this whole area blow up, especially on this part of the world. This will divert the attention from what's going on there. Here, there are conflicting agendas between the PIJ and Hamas.
Since the Egyptian revolution, the PIJ now has some new allies in its fight against Hamas and Israel. A number of global jihadi groups inspired by al-Qaeda are mounting attacks against Israel from the lawless Sinai Desert. Experts believe one of their goals is to provoke war between Egypt and Israel, breaking the peace treaty once and for all.
They want to drag Israel into I would say, overwhelming reaction either in the Sinai or in Gaza, which will leave Morsi in an impossible position from his point of view to react. So everybody here is walking on a very, very tight rope. Nobody wants to trip, nobody wants to fall.
Israel's priority is to stop the rockets, avoid war, and preserve the peace treaty with Egypt, even if it's a cold peace. It's a priority for Egypt's President Mohamed Morsi, too. Billions of dollars in U.S. aid and his international standing depend on it. The death of Egyptian soldiers in a recent cross-border attack on Israel has also sobered Morsi up to the fact that the jihadists and the PIJ are a threat to his government as well as Israel's. The Israeli army will continue to root out PIJ, Hamas, and jihadi terrorists in Gaza and increasingly in the Sinai. But many believe the pointed counterstrikes are a temporary solution.
One missile in the wrong place, hitting a school bus, hitting a kindergarten, or a lot of civilian fatalities would, of course, end with the overwhelming Israeli reaction in Gaza, which, in my humble opinion, sooner or later is going to come.
But Israeli leaders now say they don't want any kind of conflict in Gaza. Jordana Miller, JN1, Jerusalem.